Chigozie Enwere. Prof, I threw the question at the town hall from the perspective of inclusivity. What's your assessment about inclusivity in Nigeria? The tiers of government, the people who are supposed to be serving us. What's your perspective?
I think one thing about this concept of inclusivity is that in policy making, there are processes in policy making. And one thing is that in the process of making any policy, the citizens have their demands, which comes as an input into the policy making. And also you have a feedback mechanism. And that's where the concept of being inclusive comes into play. And the issue there is that when government makes policy and there is a gap between feedback and policy making, that's where you talk about the fact that the citizens have been excluded from the processes. Just like what they are saying, you see that most of their issues is on hope, what they have actually said. And you see that in the process of creating hope, they are just emphasizing the relevance of their organization. And the essence of emphasizing on the relevance of the organization is to be included in the processes. And that is where the feedback mechanism comes into play. And that is why in Nigeria today, the problem we have is that most of the policies that are made are based on the elite conception without bringing into play the feedback mechanism from the citizens. They believe that the elites mixed together come up with a concept that they believe that is good for the people. And when you do that based on the elite conception without including the feedback mechanism from the citizens, that is where the problem comes into play. Like for instance, when you're making your commentary, talk about the issue of fuel subsidy removal. And when you look at that, the policymakers came up with the concept of removal of fuel subsidy, which to them is a good conception. But you see that every policy that you make has a sort of outcome that you cannot even define when you're making the policy, and that's where feedback comes into play. Let me give you an example. Just November last year, 2025, Bolivia made a decision. The government made a decision to remove fuel subsidy. And in the process of removing fuel subsidy, in order to correct some of the macroeconomic challenges, but in the process of making such removal, which to the citizens were so sudden and not incremental, without including some of the perspective of other actors in the system. As at that particular period, the inflationary rate in Bolivia was 5.1%. And now they implemented the fuel subsidy removal, the inflationary rate moved to 26%. And that shows you the essence of being inclusive and a sort of feedback mechanism into the system. Okay. And now such a thing that happened in Bolivia, you see that there are a sort of challenges. Because I was listening to what you were saying. You see that brought about frustration in the system, that brought about aggression, because the actual need expectation of the citizens is quite different from what the citizens are expecting. Okay, and when there's such a gap, there's every tendency for tension in the system.
We'll still come to you to that perspective. And when we come back from Kaduna, we're about going to Kaduna now. I'll come to Dr. Suleiman Barnabas to tell us more about institutions instead of strong men. And after then, we'll go to our youths who are right here to tell us how they feel as it is now. So let's go to Kaduna, where Umar Ajingi is at one of the locations, the Kaduna Light Rail Project. Umar, can you give us perspectives where you are? Because we hear so much about federal, and there's so less about state. In the interface between state and federal relations, what can you tell us from your location?
Well, the collaboration between the Kaduna state government as well as the federal government is really yielding positive results here in Kaduna State, because one of the biggest projects ever in the history of the state is the Kaduna State Light Rail system, expected to kick off from Millennium City down to Rugachkun as well as to Rugasa railway station. Just a few weeks ago, the Federal Executive Council approved about 1 trillion naira for this very big, wonderful project. The people of Kaduna State are really saying that this is indeed the dividends of democracy. And not forgetting that, apart from this light rail system, the Kaduna-Kano railway track is still ongoing. The work is progressing. Apart from that, the state government, I think in partnership with the federal government, has also made a very big effort in terms of maintaining peace and security in the last 3 years in Kaduna State, because protecting the lives and property of the citizens is one of the most important thing government anywhere across the globe is focusing on. The state government, in partnership with the office of the NSA, introduced what is now known globally as a Kaduna State peace model, which entails one, a dialogue, engaging community leaders, traditional rulers, as well as the bandit themselves. Was at Benungwari twice for this very important assignment, where the bandit themselves were brought on the dialogue table to discuss with them, and they promised to release all those people in captivity, which they did. Benungwari was one time the trouble area. It is just like a death sentence, at least when you tell your family members that you are traveling from Kaduna to Benungwari. You cannot even do that without a security escort. Even with the security escort, you have to be praying in your mind to arrive safely. But that is a story. It is no more again. The Benungwari, Kaduna is very accessible. Even at night, people travel now to Benungwari. Apart from the issue of returning peace in Benungwari and Giwa, the Kaduna State Peace Model deliberately designed a policy to reintegrate, rehabilitate the victims of banditry. One, providing them with the necessary social amenities to at least put smiles on their faces. The state government, in collaboration with development partners, the federal government, has built mass housing units for victims of banditry at Millennium City. The houses are still standing, and the victims are enjoying some of this facility. Even though it is not yet Uhuru, there are some pockets of incidences of one kidnapping or the other, but in the last 3 years, the state has not experienced a major security breach as it used to experience in the past. Apart from the security issue, infrastructure is another very key area where the state government has made a very significant progress. About 78 roads have been awarded, spanning over 775 kilometers across the state, and most of these roads are in rural communities, to ensure that some of these rural areas have been linked up with the urban cities, because Kaduna is an agrarian community. It's one of the leading states in the production of ginger and maize. For some of these farmers to be able to transport some of their farm produce from the rural area directly from their farms to the market. So far, about 20 of this road has so far been unveiled, and the residents of Kaduna State, particularly those in the rural area, are witness to this and are saying thank you to the democratic system of government that has brought in their elected governor and President Aswaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that he's supporting the Kaduna State governor to achieve this great developmental feat. In the transport sector, like I've started mentioning, apart from the light rail system, there is the BRT bus transport initiative in Kaduna State, and there is also one of the biggest bus terminal right now as I'm speaking to you under construction at Millennium City. These CNG buses are also going around the state conveying civil servants and students for free for months now from one location to another. Most of the civil servants in Kaduna State, after work, you see them converging in strategic locations to be conveyed back to their residences for free. And that same thing tomorrow morning, they will come out very close to some of these bus terminals for them to be conveyed back to their offices. These are some of the evidence of democracy the people of Kaduna State are enjoying, but this is in partnership with the federal government, the state government, as well as development partners.
Uma, I'm still on you, Uma. If you can hear me loud and clear, from where you are is the site of the Kaduna Light Rail project. And the network of the expansion you're giving us indicates to me that it leads to rural communities. So what's your projection if this thing is completed and it starts working in terms of free flow of traffic to rural communities and the production of food? What's your projection?
Well, the light rail system, like I said earlier, is one of the biggest. It is a dream come true for the people of Kaduna State, because I think apart from Lagos State, Kaduna State will be the second to have these very important transport facilities. Some of the residents of Kaduna do see some of these facilities on their televisions in some of these developed nations, but today it has gradually becoming a reality that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved for the construction of this light rail system that is expected to, Kaduna is a very big city. It's a cosmopolitan city with people from different parts of this country as a defunct capital of northern Nigeria. Where I am now is Barnawa. And Barnawa is from the southern part of the state. There is a deliberate effort now. There is a bridge about 350 meters apart from this light rail system that is expecting to link up the state from the southern to the northern part. In the past, apart from the River Kaduna bridge, that is for the past 30, 40 years. And this is the only time the Kaduna State is having such infrastructure to be able to link up some of these communities. So the light rail system is one of the biggest thing ever that will happen to the people of Kaduna State, so that it will ease the transportation of people from one location to another. Of course, it will bring about economic growth. It will open up business opportunities. It will provide both direct and indirect jobs for the citizens of this country, and that is alleviating poverty. That is putting food on the table of somebody, which is the government, both at the center and the state, are trying to ensure that poverty is being eradicated. And that is why the first executive bill the governor signed when he was in office is a financial inclusion bill to ensure that most of the residents, particularly in rural areas, have official bank accounts so that they can be able to be accessing some of this assistance and support from both the federal and the state government. Kaduna State is indeed enjoying this very big collaboration between the state, the federal government, and development partners. Big things are really happening here, even though some people have their own opinion concerning democratic system of government, but the majority are saying thank God for this system of government, that they can even now chip in, go to the media, write some letters to the authority, to the policy makers to say this is what we want and this is what I think we did not want. Even that opportunity alone, that freedom alone, they said is a very big thing democracy has brought to the people of Kaduna State. You can see the work behind me ongoing with the workers working here day and night to ensure this facility is being delivered in a very good time.
Thank you so much, Umar Ajingi. Umar Ajingi brought us up to speed from a location where the Kaduna Light Rail project is going. Thank you so much for that perspective. Now back to the studio. Dr. Barnabas, I said I'll come to you straight. Listening to our correspondent from Kaduna and from what he has reeled out, it therefore means there's some element of interaction between the third tier of government, the state, and indeed the federal level. But you were very concerned about institutions being weak and strong being almost taking over. Let's hear it from you.
Yeah, thank you very much. First and foremost, institutions don't exist in a vacuum, right? So it is individuals who run institutions. And so the weakness or strength of an institution will be a reflection of the strength or otherwise of the individuals who run them. One of the things that I've seen, and which I think even in theory that has been established, is the fact that the failure of government or even governance is a story of the failure of institutions. And to be particular, bureaucracies. When bureaucracies fail, governance will fail. If you look at the political structure of Nigeria, right, You talk about the federal government, there you have some resources that you have to address issues. The state government has resources also, and of course the local government. So if the federal government is working and the state government is not working up to speed, or the local government is not doing the same, you have this crisis, and that's what our mommy, has eloquently spoken about in terms of local government working. And this government came on board and identified that, spoke to that, and said, okay, they will use the legal frameworks to ensure that local governments become functional. But the question we should ask is that as we speak, are local governments functional? And the answer is no. Because you have governors who have used their
we have
powers.
chairmen in existence there.
Yeah, I mean, you see, again, when you talk about institutions, speak to roles and responsibilities. It's not just about the platform. The platforms may exist, but if the responsibilities are not carried out, you experience dysfunction. And so what you have with the local governments today in Nigeria is that they are grossly dysfunctional, to the extent that the state governors have made it, even getting the people, the right people there. Some of the people you have as local government chairmen today are former thugs of governors. They are people that do not have the competence, they do not have the character to be able to manage resources. Talk more of managing a whole local government. So that's a problem. Another thing with respect to bureaucracies, because we're talking about governance, it's not just about the president, like you've said, the executive. You have other democratic institutions, like the National Assembly, you have the judiciary, and some other institutions.
Anti-corruption institutions.
Exactly. So the question is this: those platforms exist, but to what extent are they functional? If the functionality of these institutions, and particularly if the people who man them, occupy positions but lacking in the dispositions to match, then you have this kind of crisis that we have.
Thank you very much. Prof, let me take on you. I want to allow him to rest. Let me take on you now. How do you corroborate that or disagree with him before I go to our youths who have been very quiet watching us from the town hall?
Okay, I think what he has said is in line with the principle of leadership. Like, for instance, when you look at this concept of strong institutions, who made that remark? Not strong men. Who made that remark? It was Obama. When he visited Africa, he advised Africans that there is need for strong institutions and not strong men. Just like in the concept of leadership, you see that what kind of democracy or the philosophy that guides your political system. You see that presidential system of government makes the president to have enormous powers. And that is why you see that the value and the character of who become a president under a presidential system determines the value of the institutions. Like, for instance, when Obama was in power, the institutions were working effectively in the United States. But now Trump came into power. You see that the character of Trump determines the character of the institutions. Okay. And that shows you that in any political system, the philosophy that guides the system determines the value, the processes, and the procedure of the institutions. Let me give you another example in Nigeria. When the president came into power, you see that he wanted to empower the local governments by insisting that he will give direct funding to the local government to make them more stronger. Yeah. But you see that in the implementation of that, at the state level, you have some governors that believe in the institutions, and you have some governors that are strong. And that shows you that in the process of the implementation of the funding, you see that instead of the local government becoming stronger, some of them are also becoming weaker. Another example that I will cite about the president is that look at the party primaries. The first time in Nigerian history that he wanted to return power to the party members so that you have a stronger political party. And that is why you see that this process of primary that was conducted, you see that almost all the political parties adopted the same process of primaries. Even the NDC went further to say that in the process of their primaries, only when you win the primary that you can pay for the expression of interest from. You see that that's the new innovation that the president brought into the system. But the issue at the implementation level, at the state level, what kind of institution is the state operating? And that shows that the character of the people at the state level also determine the value of the institutions. And that is why you see that in the process of democracy, we should always be looking for leaders that have that value of multilateralism, not values of unilateralism. And you see that when you have a leader that have the values of unilateralism, you see that the institution will be weak. But when you have leaders that have multilateralism as a philosophy, you see that the institutions will be stronger. Okay. And that is how the system operates.
Let's go to the town hall, and I want to start with our young sister there. From the perspective of service, before now, I used to hear they tell me the future belongs to the youths. Today, I'm also in that position to tell you the future belongs to you. So far, from the president's statement today, marking his 3 years in office, and looking across board, 27 years of unbroken democracy in Nigeria. Are you satisfied with the service, and what kind of service are you looking at? Just introduce yourself once again and tell us your perspectives.
Okay, my name is Blessing Sunday Kuje, and
speak to us. Can we hear you loud and clear?
My name is Blessing Sunday Kuje, and in the perspective of service delivery from the president, I would say, as a youth, he has tried. He has done well for we youths, but he can still do better. I mean, the government can still do better because he alone cannot do all. And we as youth, we could also play our own part. We can also play our part in the sense that when policies are being implemented or when policies are being made, they should be friendly in the sense that it doesn't make it difficult for we the youth. Then,
okay, let's hear from our own brother. Thank you. Just introduce yourself once again.
All right, my name is Tiwatayo Olenka. And yes, she has talked about the fact that yes, the government has done well in the sense of, creating opportunities in providing these avenues for us to develop ourselves, grow skills and all. But yeah, they can still do more. They can still do more. They can still provide more opportunities, because it actually appears as though these opportunities are not visible. Like, we don't see them. We don't see them as often, or they are just in specific locations rather than across the whole nation. So if these opportunities can now be easily accessible to every Nigerian youth, irrespective of basically age brackets, maybe even children, teenagers and all, I feel like it would benefit the country more if youths are trained, if youths have access to these opportunities to better themselves and ultimately better the country as well.
Can I interject a bit?
Yes.
Technology has made administration a lot easier. Some of these programs are done online and what have you. So when you talk about in one location, how do you mean?
All right.
For instance, Nelfon, for instance, everything is online. You don't need to be in Abuja to get a Nelfon support from government. When you say one location, I'm concerned, yeah.
All right. Yes, technology has made it easier. But then if you look at the country, things like the network isn't stable.
Okay.
For us to even say we want to maybe join seminars or webinars online to have the access to these opportunities. So in that sense, making more physical locations, making it more accessible physically is definitely better right now.
Can we have the mic behind? Or you want, okay, we'll come back to you.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen.
Can we hear you loud and clear? Can we speak out?
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Austin Winkara Vicky, and government has done well in the sense that it has helped us as students to give us loans and other grants. Then we as students should study our books well so that we can use it for our future generation and be able to get money so that the income will be increased, and we should not go into common crimes like Yahoo or malpractice and all those other crimes that we shouldn't do, and that's all. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, now, are you a student?
Yes.
Where do you school, please?
Oye Comprehensive College.
So if you're privileged to be talking to your mates now, your schoolmates now, now let us imagine they are listening to you, what message should we be passing to them as fellow Nigerians in support of what government is doing and how government can do more? Okay.
Government can do more to empower students, which parents are not able to put them in school. Yes, not for that one's for university. What of secondary schools? You can help them to be empowered, and yeah. And we should always also study well so that we will pass and be able to get jobs or even go for skill acquisition and other things. Yes.
Thank you so much. Let's have our sister there. Yes. What's your perspective in terms of service to the citizens, and in turn, what should the citizens of Nigeria be doing? You never can do more, no matter how good a government. Like I told you earlier, even the best countries, they cannot perfect 100%. So what kind of service are you expecting, and how can the citizens reciprocate?
Good afternoon all. For my own side, because I'll talk for my own field where I am, as a tailoring side, where I know about. So as I was saying before, there's no light for us to do better, but we are still trying our best. Okay. Because as of now, we are still carrying this charcoal iron to make sure that we are producing our this thing, because there's no light. Because without light, you can make a production, and the fuel is not easy for us to be using generator and power our machine also. So what I will say for my fellow tailors out there, because if we are trying, I know we are trying our best, but government should still do their best in power, because once there is light, we don't have any problem, but it's the light that's our major problem. And in a country, as the whole country, I know Nigerians, I know we are saying government. We all are government, because we have to do our best, our own, before, as government are doing their own, we have to put our own effort so that we can now move on. Everything will...
Thank you so much. Let's pass back to the very next sister there. Yeah, go ahead. Before we come to the front row.
Yes.
Then I'll come back to that next row with Madam Bumi.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Nigeria. I am Barrister A.B. Austin Ogionwo, MNI. As the discussion is going, the role that the current administration has performed and the ones that we are expecting to be done. Now, you ask of inclusivity.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The government has done so much in terms of women inclusivity, but there is still a gap. The gap is for signing the Women Special Bill. If that gap is created positively by passing the bill, it will take our percentage of inclusivity into a high percentage, which means we will have more female representatives in governance, political appointees, and other women that will represent Nigerian women. The bill we were expecting that by now the bill must have passed. Just as the, hastening the electoral bill, we were expecting that the women's bill will be, fast-tracked. But it's not going that way. They are taking it, in a slow pace, and we are not comfortable. The women are not comfortable because we thought that by now, this electoral process, women should have been included already. But up till now, our bill is still lying down in the National Assembly. I think it's going through third reading after going for public hearing, and it still has a long way to go. And that is the fear that the women of Nigeria are having, that probably from now to 2027, and when the electoral processes will be, we might not even come, even the 4% to 5% that we are recorded might even go down, because the political parties are not implementing the affirmative action that they have, endorsed, in the sense that women are not in the candidates that they are selecting now. We are taking record. Most of them are men. Women are not there. And if a political party does not forward women deliberately, then means we will still be at the back. And then what time will we come up? What time will Nigeria come up to, proudly say, we have been going to the UN, participating in CSW, this, that, where we are advocating that women should be included. But up till now, we are still backwards. So I'm pleading with Mr. President, our father, our mother, the grand patron of the National Council of Women's Society, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, to fast-track this gender bill so that before 2027, maybe we might have still key into some of the elections that are coming. That is my call for inclusivity. And then secondly, economic inclusivity, because if we don't have money at hand to even contest those positions that men are contesting, then how do we go about it? Forms are raised up to 5 million, 50 million, 10 million, which the women cannot even afford. And so the special seat bill is the only way we can, be included. And apart from that, the violence that is taking place, thank God that the party primaries that we just concluded party primaries, we saw that some areas, some persons were trying to do some violence, but because of the openness of it, those violent areas were curbed. But still, at the general election, we will still see some form of violence, which the women are not interested in going into those violent areas, constituency and all. Okay. So we need this special seat bill for inclusion. Okay. We plead, we will give kudos to the women, the minister, the state governor's wives, the vice president's wife. NGOs have been, advocating seriously, supporting the bill, and we give kudos to those men that are sponsoring the bill at the National Assembly today. At least it's not the women that tendered the bill. It is the men, okay, because they have seen that this thing is very, very important. It's not for it might not be, the impact might not be felt right now, but in future you will see our daughters, our wives, our sisters will be brought to the decision-making table.
Okay, before you pass the mic, I know your point is taken.
Yes.
As a member of the National Institute, Do you think this is an issue that should be tabled as a major discussion and a cause for policy to come out from?
Yes, this is a very good question. And I want to highlight the fact that the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, because this issue is an important issue, have created a gender center which is now, spearheading some of these issues. Yep. I know of my DS, the Director of Study, Professor Paramala, who spearheaded the institute to come up with this gender center where they can educate women to contest even the position, because that is also an issue. Okay. After signing the bill or passing the bill, the women that capable women that needs to contest for those positions, the institute need to train them. And that is what the Gender Center in the Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies is doing.
Thank you very much.
Apart from that,
I would love to have the mic come here, but hand over the mic to Dr. Bumi. Bumi, let's give us perspectives on how best these women could be included effectively, because so much has been said and done, yet we don't get to see it. Women themselves also complain.
Just now she was talking, I was just realizing that a lady who contested for presidency and lost is asking for a refund of the money. Again, this is a bigger issue, because while you started that discussion, I was just going to say, during President Jonathan, there was this women gathering at the villa, and the First Lady came and said, anybody that wants to go to any position, I have told my husband to make it free of charge. So I'm calling on Senator Oluremi Tinubu to take that step for women. I remember that day I came to the meeting, invited as an NGO. But before I left, I picked up a form myself, because it is free of charge. And I still have the form in my house till today.
You didn't feel it? You didn't feel the form?
I feel it because when I wanted to now take it to my state to start, is when violence started in my state. I won't mention my state's name. And I was afraid of the violence, so I stopped. But everybody was supportive. And that was a great step, because at that time it was 500,000. Where will I get it? But because she announced that it was free of charge, I picked the form. So what that means, just this lady that is saying, refund my money now, after primaries, you shouldn't be like that. That is one solution. So our sweet mother, and I thank God for Senator Oluremi Tinubu, a great wife that every Nigerian should celebrate. She has been supporting presidents, and she has been moving around all states, carrying the governors' wives along. All the issues that the panelists have mentioned, if the governors' wives are doing what they can do. Recently, the House of Assembly wife, they had a conference there in Abuja, and I was privileged to attend. And they also are in the advocacy of making sure that this grassroots issue that Prof mentioned has been tackled and should be tackled. And I remember that in that meeting, one of the House of Assembly members' wife told us and said, if we give money to our people at the grassroots, you will see them fighting us and say, go and bring more. Mentality must change in Nigeria. Reorientation, NOA must do a lot to reorientate Nigerians. If your leader is trying to do something for you, that is not the time you will tie your belt and hold their collar and ask them to give you the money for their own feeding. There are plans of government. Let us work together to ensure that we do what government has put in plan for us. But more importantly, before I drop the microphone, is that we also can do things for ourselves. Let's collaborate. Nigerians talk about collaboration, but we don't really collaborate. You want to collaborate with grassroots people. You walk through the NGOs, through the CBOs. CBOs are the community-based organizations. We must identify them. We must utilize them. Where we see what we call development funding in Nigeria, I have been to countries, and like somebody said on the panel, you will go to those countries. WHO is an NGO. Hello? WHO is an NGO. The country, people donate money to them, and they bring it to Africa, and we celebrate them. We carry them on our shoulders. Right here, down in Nigeria, work with your NGOs in the health sector, in the educational sector, in every sector. Let's identify NGOs work with them, because the results we are looking for, the KPIs, will come through down the line, not from the up level. And when we talk about policy structure, the policy is agencies of ministries and their agencies. And the implementation is the organized private sector, is the NGOs, is the SMEs, is the youth organization, is everybody down the line. So you imagine a policy statement that gives hundreds of people jobs to do. That is policy. And how do we make that happen? The budget that our ministries are submitting, it is wrong. They don't know how to do budgeting. There is a program we do called planning budgeting for science and for development, not even for science alone. You must take budgets from your grassroots. Persons with disabilities must submit their budgets to you. Women must submit budgets to you. Youth must submit budgets. Not that the ministry will send budget to the assembly and tell us we want to do fence every year. That is not the budget. The budget is your policy stated, say we are building human capacity in ABCD. Who are those to do it? You identify them. They are 10, they are 20. Let them submit their budget. It is their budget you cumulate together and present. Not that you come up with a 20 million budget, and by the time you now make adverts,
okay, but Madam, let me just interject. You have said a lot, and if I allow you, I may lose other tracks. But you have raised a concern. I'll come to the front row when we are back from Port Harcourt. Before I go to Port Harcourt, Prof, before I come to engineer, let me just set the tone. Budget planning from the grassroots. She has a very strong and witty statement there.
I think what she's emphasizing a bottom-top approach, which is very good in issues of strategic planning. Because one thing about nations is that for a nation, if you don't plan strategically, that nation is planning to fail. Like what she's saying about the issue of getting input, that was why I started by saying there should be feedback mechanism from the bottom to the top in order to make a very decisive policy that will benefit all in the system. Okay. Like what British is saying here is about the issue of feedback mechanism, the demands of the people and the desires of the people. And you see that when you include the demand and desires of the people in your strategic planning, it will bring about an outcome that will be more generalized. And that is when people begin to talk about being included in the processes. Like all what she has said is about the issue of exclusion. When she cited the issue of WHO, you see that in Nigeria, we need to develop a structure, which I know that is in existence, a structure that will bring about a accumulation of ideas and principles so that we can have a more deliberate process. Like for instance, in the process of making economic policies, you don't leave economic policies to the doorstep of economics, because you make a particular policy, but the outcome is so diverse in nature. So in the process of making any policy, you must include other professionals from other fields so that they can interrogate the principles and the outcome of such policies, so that in the process the multiplier effect, which can either be positive or negative, will be contained in the process.
Thank you so
much. That is one of the key areas that we need to emphasize.
Engineer, sir.
Yeah, I think what is going around is very powerful, but what surprises me is that Madam said this country has like over 50% women. Just contest now and vote for yourselves. You will just win. You don't need any other interaction. You are waiting for a process to break the democratic principle, to say, you sit here. No. What you need to do is to mobilize around it. I mean, we had a case in Adamawa State, you remember. A lady stood for governorship, and she did very well, right up to, but I had not seen the power of NCAWS there, you know. So this is one. The second thing is, I think if we're looking at Mr. President's 3 years, and then subsequently to proceed, it is very, very important to inject, just like Prof said, a strategy for measurement. Unless you plan very well and you implement properly, you cannot measure whether you are moving forward or not. And it is very important for this country, state by state or local government by local government, to know our SWOT, which is a strategic tool for planning. What are you strong in? If you are very strong, forget about all these sentiments that we play around. You are using tribe, you are using religion, you are using gender, you are using, to confuse the whole thing. What are you strong in? Document that. What is your weakness? Work so hard on your weakness so that they become strength.
Can I just interject you a bit?
Yeah.
Our correspondent is on standing by from Port Harcourt. When we are back, we'll continue there, then we go around. Kingsley Amajiri is standing by from Port Harcourt. Kingsley, I believe you have been following through the discussion and listening through, we have talking about grassroots development. What is it like in Rivers State? If we'll come back to Kingsley, can you complete your thoughts, plan?
Yeah. Thank you, Kingsley, for having challenges. Anyway.
Okay, so, Kingsley is back. Yeah,
okay,
Kingsley is back.
Kingsley has not unmuted.
Kingsley, are you sure you're not muted? Okay, we'll come back to him. Is he on? Okay, go ahead, please.
Yeah. So, as I was saying, at every level we have to determine, from institutions to all these areas, what is our strength? We know this. Take advantage of your strength. Don't lose it. Then identify your weakness. Work so hard to make sure that you turn your weakness into strength. Then what are the opportunities you have in your space? Make sure you know these opportunities so that you grab them and you take them. And then what are the threats that is facing you? One of the biggest threats in Nigeria is poverty. Poverty will destroy you. Make sure that you hit it very hard. So it is this that will help you to plan. And if you align it to budgeting, don't do random budgeting that we traditionally do in the public sector. We call it template budgeting. It's a form, and then very quickly people will say, hey, the president needs this budget. In next 2 days, do this template. Your envelope is this. You are already gone. You're finished. But you're expected to have this strategic thinking so that you can say, look, and out-of-school children is our situation. Now, if you want to tackle the out-of-school children issue, it means some will have to be taken into existing schools. Some new schools have to be built, but also you can meet the children wherever they are and give them some education. This thing has to be part of you so that you can be able to say, but in the next 4 years, this 25 million out-of-school children that we have will come down to 10. You know, so this is, and the resources are not open. You know, so you have to be very, very strategic in planning this. Each of these things you do, you have to measure them. Unfortunately, the planning, the budgeting, the measurement is very expensive. You have to use the right people. If you use, again, your tribal connection, or your school connection, or your friendship connection to now try to measure, you will fail. You know, you need experts to actually help you, and Nigeria is not short of these. Then you need to document. Don't loosely use things and then you don't have institutional memory. Each time you appoint a minister in Nigeria, you go back to policy. Because something tells the minister that the person who left there did not know what they are doing. Make sure you document. And that documentation has to be carried along so that you can be able to additionally move on. So I think it is this accumulation of all these ideas that can be able to power Mr. President to make sure that the things that you have actually started in the last 3 years can now consolidate, and hopefully by the time you start the first part of your second term, Your Excellency, Nigerians will start laughing. Nigerians will see jobs. Nigerians will see wealth. Nigerians will see security and peace. Nigerians will see united people so that we can be able to drive this country to the highest level. And then the international people will respect us. They will respect us and be able to say, well done, Nigeria, Baba Nigeria.
Thank you so much. I'll come to you for perspectives, then we'll go to the town hall from the front row. Kingsley Amajiri in Port Harcourt is back. And Kingsley, I repeat my question. Listening through, can you begin with your update or bringing us up to speed from Rivers State? What is it like, grassroots development involving the third tier of government, which is at the lowest rung of the ladder?
Okay, when you talk about grassroots development, well, we'll be examining what have been on ground now before the current administration and where we are today. Let's look at in terms of project delivery to those at the grassroots. I want to take you to Bonny. Bonny is a very critical area of Rivers State, not just key to the economy of the nation, but also to the people of the state, given the oil and gas activities that have been going on there and the huge revenue that have been coming out of that part of the state. In the last 3 years under this present administration, we've seen development that have actually brought development to the people at that part of the country. Before now, it used to be a concern traveling to Bonny, and those that reside in that part of the country appear to be isolated from the rest part of the state and the country at large. But this administration has been able to open up link the area with a road, motorable road, as we speak now. Back in the days, we used to have situations where when people from Bonny come to Port Harcourt for an event, they're always given priority so that they will finish up their activities and go back. But today, the story has changed. The Bodo-Bonny road has changed the story when it comes to economic transformation and bringing development to the people in Bonny local government area. That road project, which has been a long aspiration, not just for the people of Bonny, those who reside within that vicinity, but to also those who do business and other economic activities within that region. That project, for many who have appraised the completion of that project, they see it as a key landmark project that has added value to the people of Bonny and the rest part of the state. Aside from that project, we'll look at the Federal University at Ogoni, which has also been the desire of the Ogoni people to clean up the environment. That Federal University of Environment was articulated primarily to address the concerns of the Ogonis with environmental pollution and environmental remediation related activities. That university that was approved by the federal government and cited in Ogoni has also added value to the clean-up project that is ongoing in Ogoni land, which is another value that this administration has created in terms of environmental remediation that is of key interest to the average man and the average woman in Ogoni land. By the establishment of that university, aside the fact that it has created jobs, it will also help in the manpower development towards the overall cleanup exercise in Ogoni and the other part of the Niger Delta region. These are two key projects that have been embarked upon by the federal government that have actually brought succor to those at the grassroots. Let's look at what has taken place at the state level. We have also seen development effort by the current administration in the state, notwithstanding the political infractions and challenges, but the government has also been able to link Oyerokoto fishing settlement. Oyerokoto fishing settlement is regarded as the largest fishing settlement in West Africa. This administration at the state level has been able to take root to Oyerokoto fishing settlement, and you know what that will translate economically to the average local fisherman in Andoni and to the average local fisherman within that axis of the state. The opening of Oyerokoto fishing settlement, linking the communities with road, is a value this administration has been able to create for those within the Andoni axis. We'll go to the Calabari axis. There's also this Trans-Calabari Road project that is also ongoing. Aside from the Emo-Hatema Calabari Road, which is the major entrance to Calabari, there are so many communities that before now are unable. You can't go to such communities by land, but this administration has been able also to take roads traversing the coastal terrain to take road to those coastal communities. These are values. When you talk about bottom-up approach to governance, these are the concerns many of those who reside within these communities have been agitating. These are the aspirations in the past. They have been agitated that government should be able to bring development. When you take road to such communities, you know you have been able to open up those areas, not just for the people to transport their agricultural produce to the center, but also opening up those areas for visitors and investors alike to be able to penetrate those local communities. Aside from these 4 key projects I've been able to mention, we have also had other projects in the terms of health sector, in the area of sports development, and across board we have seen development that have been able to touch the lives of the average river citizens from the federal government and down to the state level.
So Kingsley, before I allow you go, what's the general aura looking at 27 years of unbroken democracy and in specific terms, 3 years of democracy of the current administration? What's the aura around Rivers State?
Well, you know, there is also this maxim that the people will always say that the worst democracy is always better than any other form of government. Yes, the current democracy might have its own teaching challenges, but the average view on the streets of streets of Port Harcourt and the Rivers State at large is that democracy have been able to touch lives in terms of impacting on the lives of the people. Well, there is this general concern about the economic realities, but aside from the economic realities, when you talk about impacting on bringing development in terms of infrastructure, in terms of human capital development, the general perception here is that yes, democracy has been a blessing. Democracy has been a blessing not just to the country but also to people here in the state. We agree, and that has been the perception. There may be the challenges noticeably, especially in the areas of security. The average man on the street will also want the government to intensify its efforts at addressing the national security concerns. Aside from that present security concern, on the each area of infrastructure and economic development, there is this average perception that the government has done its best, and more expectations are also, there are more expectations as the government progresses in this last year of his administration.
Thank you so much. That was Kingsley Amajeri. He was giving us perspectives from Port Harcourt, Rivers State. I stole your space, but let me allow them conclude. Then I come to you and we sustain our discussion, and we'll quickly introduce our brother when we get to the floor. He just joined us while we're in Port Harcourt. Welcome. Thank you. Okay, so we listened to Kingsley. We stopped at budgeting from the grassroots. Now let's take it from planning and budgeting.
All right. Thank you so much. I think I would preface...
Engineer Bindi raised a serious concern.
Yes.
Envelope, frame, is it the templates, and you're just locked in there. You're not allowed to open up.
Yes. So I think that's why I wanted to preface my intervention with the words of Professor Amartya Sen, a Nobel Prize winning economist, who said development is freedom. And when he defined development as freedom, he went on to say freedom from what? Freedom from fear, freedom from lack, freedom from poverty, and what have you. So it then means that when we conceptualize development as freedom, it should reflect in the way we budget, because in your budget, you don't need to explain your intentions to me. I see all your intentions in your budget. And so if you have a budgeting system like Engineer Bindi has described, where everything is static, is not opened up for citizen input, it then means that the first layer of accountability, the first layer of participation has been destroyed. And the moment you destroy that first layer of participation, then of course you'd have apathy, because the people are already alienated from your policies and programs. And there's also a very critical point about policies and programs, which is the point about execution. Your execution is more or less what gives oxygen to whatever plans you have in place. And so for you to know how effective a leader is or a set of leaders are, you have to look at what level of attention are they paying to execution. And if the level of attention to execution is weak, then it is said that every weak execution is equal to bad execution. And so, for us as civil society, we need to pay a lot more attention in terms of oversight at that level. Now, I really like the very excellent contributions of Dr. Hassan when she was talking about the fact that the culture in our public finance system, where it is an exclusive preserve of the bureaucrats to sit down and fashion out and hammer out a budget, is totally unacceptable to the Nigerian people. We have been campaigning against this over the years as civil society. We have been doing advocacy around this, that the people who should drive the budgeting process are the people at the grassroots, because they have needs, they have priorities. And the moment you discountenance their priorities and their needs, then of course, the whole architecture on which your development programs is sitting is,
let me just hold it there. I'll come to Ejabindi briefly. Please, besides ideation, can co-creation make this perfected?
Very important. In fact, everything else about co-creation, right? Even in the educational system, knowledge is co-created. We learn from students. And
so I just dropped it on you now.
Yes.
So go ahead.
And that co-creation also happened in the educational system with the creation of NEL Fund, right? My ears are on the ground in that respect. Today, it's difficult for you to see federal universities or state universities stopping their students from writing exams because on the ground of not paying fees. So I think government has done well in that area. Also, the resources that has to do with educational budgeting. I'm sure they would have listened to the people that people have issues with payment of fees and even their upkeep. And I think the NEL Fund still give some stipends, which has helped. You go to the Niger Delta area, you see that through presidential amnesty program also, the people from Niger Delta have access to education, not just at the federal and state level, but at universities where they wouldn't have been able to afford, except for the intervention of the government. You see them in Bays studying medicine. You see them in Nile, Cosmopolitan universities, and some other. So that they have done well, but they need to scale it up, and that's where our student was, our secondary school student was talking about, when she spoke, the need to ensure that these things reach every area, in Nigeria, so that they can feel the impact. Again, budgeting has to do with a whole lot of mainstreaming. Even in gender mainstreaming, budgeting is a key aspect of it. And just to answer what her father has said here, the reason why the women don't go out there and vote for women is that every woman is a daughter. Every woman is also a wife. And because by our culture, our women are very, very obedient to their husbands, you will find out that where the husbands tell them to vote, that's where they go to vote. Because our daughters are very, very obedient to their fathers, where we tell them to go, that's where they go. And that's why the idea of affirmative action is very important, right? Part of justice is to ensure that those who are vulnerable by the system, also help them to scale up. Another important intervention that this government has done, particularly in the educational sector, is the idea of saying that people should not be stopped from proceeding to higher education at tertiary institutions on the basis that they do not have English and they are going to study medicine. You say because you have D in English, you cannot go. 25 years ago, I wrote a book on authentic development and nation building. And one of the things that I argued against very well was the fact that you cannot stop people who are going for engineering, people who are going for medicine, from proceeding on the basis that they may have A1 in all their subjects, but because it's called D in English language, you stop them from going to study medicine. At the end of it all, when you are sick, you take them to Germany, where the doctors, they don't speak English. You take them to China, where the doctors, they don't speak English. So, you see, the the government has made a lot of progress in that area, but to what they need to do now is to scale it up, and in scaling it up requires the budgeting aspect of it. Let's not reproduce budgets like the governors always do, and even some of our bureaucracies do. You just bring budgets every year. Go through the budget, do a study, and I challenge the academics. You do a study and compare the budgets of the last 10 years and the budget of today. You see all the budget items are almost the same. And you are wondering, you have to be buying computers every day. As individuals, how many times do we change our computers or our laptops? The government is always changing. Every year you see that. That needs to be addressed. And that's corruption, where institutions, anti-corruption agencies need to work on all those things and begin to go and spot out problems that at times people budget on areas of interest. For instance, you are building, roads that people don't need. You are building schools, not that they don't need it, at some point in time. But there are more pressing issues that need to be addressed now. To what extent are we allocating resources? Because resources are very scarce. To what extent are we allocating resources to addressing the very basic problems that our people need? Because in the social contract, right? In the social contract, one thing that is very important in social contract is security. Today, there is fear on our roads. People don't want to travel home to their villages. Even governors, some governors don't go to their villages, go to the northeast. Some senators don't go to their villages. But when they are coming up with security, what do they talk about? We want to build school in our territory. You give the contract to them. They go there and they paint it. They go away with the money. So these are the issues that we must address. We must identify the key problems that we have in our nation today. Insecurity, ignorance or lack of education, and health issues, maternal, these are issues that we must invest in, and budgeting is the point that we have to get it right. Once we get it wrong at the budgeting level, then we are definitely going to get it wrong at the other levels.
Thank you so much. Well, Bindri, back to you, and this will be your last thought, because I know that you are exiting the set now, and by the time we are back, we'll have a female on set to balance the set now. So what are your last thoughts before we go?
Well, the last I will start with a professor's comment on why women don't vote for women. You better go and withdraw that bill, because he has answered your problem. You
do that at the appropriate time. Go ahead, sir.
Want him to learn.
The second thing, the second thing is, I think, just concluding, because the theme of the discussion is the performance of the administration led by our president and what next. And I think at the macro level, macroeconomic levels, you can see so many setups have been done. And certainly when you do reforms, they're painful at the beginning, but certainly we hope that they will ease down as we move down the lane of development. So first, Your Excellency, I think we need to make sure that we improve our synergy. There should be more consultations between federal and state. I was secretary to the government at the state, and I was a federal civil servant here after leaving the university as the highest level. And when you go at the state level, then you know what Nigeria is. You will find that capacity is low. Secondly, obeying the rule of law is minimal. Thirdly, there's so many other bits and pieces, similar to what Professor has spoken. So there's a disconnect. Fourth, Mr. President, to ensure that his dream of achieving this grassroots development, the subnational development, using his largesse in terms of empowering the governors, there should be synergy and consultation. The president and the governors should be meeting more frequently to compare notes. Thirdly, Your Excellency, I think we should also try to learn from each other the art of prioritization. We don't have all the resources in the world, but we have so many problems. Therefore, we should be able to prioritize so that we don't just leave the subnationals. Everybody wants to construct roads, as he said, even where roads are not required now. When you have the opportunities in agriculture and your agriculture is not well developed, and the demand and the market for your products are everywhere. So prioritization is also very, very important. And lastly, I think the Ministry of Digital Economy, the digitization people, must wake up to ensure that this country has really good connectivity everywhere. We have a communication satellite company. I think at this level, we should power that institution to make sure that even at primary school level, we have connectivity. What is the big deal? And I can tell you, give people opportunity, the space on the internet, and see development. People, don't mind about the other bits. I mean, I TikTok a lot. You see a lot of things on TikTok. It is up to you to knock off what you don't want and pick what you want. That is part of NOA's job. But make sure that this digital economic empowerment is solid in Nigeria. Let students at secondary school have access to the internet, if possible free. Let students let every single university, public and private, have broadband connectivity to make sure that education, learning, sharing is seamless. And I think if we do that, then the dividends of what you have done in the last 3 years will just start easing out. And then this will become the legacy government of Mr. President, in my opinion. Well done, Mr. President, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, Engineer Umar Bendri, PhD. He's so many past, but we know him to be very, very renowned and a first-class agricultural engineer. When we are back, he will have exited. So use the opportunity to say thank you so much for being on the program.
Thank you, sir.
3 years into the renewed hope agenda, the question of how far have women moved from the margins to the center of governance? As the saying goes, no nation develops meaningfully without the contributions of its women. In this report, Ngozi Tinubu looks at the gains, the challenges, and the plans shaping the future for women in Nigeria.
For women, the dawn of a new day is synonymous with struggle. Madam Agnes is a petty trader who starts her day hustling. She represents thousands of women who work against all odds to make ends meet.
They come here 4:30 to find leaves because the farmer will carry from we will buy from the hand. They struggle to feed our children.
It is for the likes of her that President Tinubu's empowerment programs are designed. The programs include the Women Agro Value Expansion Program to produce women farmer entrepreneurs and the goal of empowering 10 million women by 2030 to help Nigeria attain its $1 trillion economy ambition.
Because for the first time in the history of Nigeria, we have a president that is he for she par excellence. There's hardly any speech that he gives without mentioning, prioritizing women, mentioning the critical role that women will play in the emergence of the Nigeria of our dreams, a $1 trillion economy. All our programs are localized. The flagship program for delivery is the Renewed Hope Social Impact Intervention 774. So from the title, you know that it's a localized program. So we're not doing blanket interventions for everyone. No, it's tailored fit. It's community driven.
In the area of elective politics, the journey has been challenging for women.
Every community that has a woman in some critical position celebrates it. So, but when it comes to putting them into power blocks or into power spaces, then the question begins to come. Can she do this? No, she cannot do this. Yes, she can do this. But go to the ballot box, they want her votes. We top the numbers in who throws the votes in for who comes to power. But that is not reflected when they come to government. That is not reflected when it comes to appointments.
Interestingly, under the present administration, more women have been given political appointments. This includes the appointment of a female Deputy Director General of the DSS for the first time, 8 female members of the Federal Executive Council, and other female appointees as heads of government agencies and boards.
The president has appointed a lot of women into leadership positions, and that has moved the needle. But that is way below the affirmative action of 35%. And that means we are moving into the direction, but we could do better.
To acknowledge these interventions, Nigerian women gathered from the 36 states and the FCT to say, "Thank you, Mr. President."
being empowered to say, yes, we are supporting our father. We are supporting the father of the nation for his second tenure. It is done.
The scorecard of the president speaks volume for an endorsement of continuity. The First Lady's body language says it all.
Women represent over 50% of the population. Therefore, we are uniquely positioned to influence change and contribute a quota in steering the nation towards a greater future. I thank Nigerian women for believing in Mr. President.
No doubt, Nigerian women are in for a better deal.
And to show that NTA is ever gender sensitive, we brought up the report on women, and we now have a woman on set. Dr. Hassan Bumi.
Thank you for having
You have now moved from the town hall to the panel. Now,
Thank you.
before I quickly go to the panel, to the town hall, that report spoke about women inclusivity.
Absolutely.
Are you happy about it? Or you are not
Absolutely.
happy about it?
I'm actually happy about it. I want to say kudos to Mr. President. But like everybody has said there, we need to do more. And when we talk about doing more, I want us to be very specific. Engineer Bindu was saying that it's not about just pushing you
He's still
there.
listening to you.
Yeah,
Tell him
great.
listen to
So it's not just about pushing us there. We need women also who would actually put it right in terms of who are we? What do we have in us? Again, you know, while we sat down there, we were saying there are quite a lot of issues that is cross-cutting. I am a scientist, and I always say to my fellow tech women, if I pass mathematics, I pass chemistry, I probably were in the same class, and we passed, then we should be there. So there's not a story of because I'm a woman. No, because I'm a woman, for instance, Wumi Azan, through my organization, I produce solar panel by myself, assembling it from the scratch. Just recently, in solving Nigeria's petroleum problem and fuel, I have produced a solar vehicle. I didn't produce it from carrying keke. I did it from the scratch with a welder. That gives me quality to stand anywhere and say, I am a Nigerian woman. Yes, so the women should actually come to the point where we actually are saying we can do it. We are already here, and I'm happy with the women that were profiled, that the president has put there. You know, one of the things I pride about the current president is that he put the right people in the right places. Daddy, because you are our father. President, sir, we still have many more women who are great women. We have, in fact, I was reading our female vice chancellors, profound female vice chancellors. In this political class, we know the politics is there. People have talked about it. I won't flog it. But, sir, there are quite a lot of women in different sectors that you can still push out and celebrate there and let them perform. We are not asking for a contention. As a matter of fact, women are glass breakers already.
Okay, let me hold you there now. No. Madam, take off from there.
My name is Princess Nikki Onyeri. A member of the National Council of Women's Societies, umbrella body of women organizations in this country, found in not just the FCT, but 36 states of the Federation, 778 local government areas, 74, sorry, and which means that we are at the grassroots. This is a body that the president can leverage to even do a lot of work. Yes, the National Orientation Agency is there, but you know, when women are fully engaged, this will turn things around. Now let me start by celebrating Mr. President, that never in the history of this country have we seen a president that decentralized funding, money from the federal government to the states, to the local governments. Let us give it to him. He's a true Democrat. For him to cede that to governors, to local governments. The issue where we are finding some disconnect is the point where we are saying that, and the president has said it, don't just question me. Hold your governors accountable. Hold your local government administrators accountable. Are we doing that? And our appeal to Mr. President is, as Nigerian women, is please, as you decentralized this funding, can you create some monitoring evaluation of the programs of these governors? Because they are doing things that does not touch the lives of the common man. And that is where the disconnect is happening. That if there is monitoring, there is an airport existing, you go and build another new airport. When we don't have money to eat, how many people can afford flying now? So there should be monitoring evaluation of this money that the president has been sending to governors and to the local government. And then the governors should be held accountable in the sense that they have privatized local government administration.
Okay, thank you so much.
Brother,
I'll come to you on black.
I haven't.
You haven't finished?
Special,
okay, conclude, please. Go ahead,
Let
please.
me just say again, the special seats is not given to women. Women, I will tell you, that as a member of APC, we have forum of APC female aspirants. People thought we don't have qualified women. We had over 500. When they were saying, when we talk of election, women don't come out, it's a lie. Women came out, more than 500. Even the one that we are talking of free form. We even said, we are ready to even buy the form like the men, which the party gave us 50%, which was something. But the point where we had the disconnect was when we now went into the field and we found that we were being one way or the other pushed out of the system. But we are happy that we have a president. We have our mother, the First Lady, who is matron of NCWS, that they are going to find a way. Special seats is the way countries have been able to get women into positions.
Okay.
Special seats is what it is. We are not asking for just, and it is for a time. We did not say it will continue forever. Give us this to help women to come on board, especially in elective positions, which is where this space has been hijacked by the men.
I hope I'm safe now, at least.
Give us that special seat. Mr. President, our First Lady, our mother, and the party chairman, please, especially APC, give us, the women came out to run, but we have been excluded. We are not even, we didn't make, from reports here, we did not make even 10% of people with ticket, women with ticket.
Thank you so much. Let's go to our brother there on black. Yes. Once again, introduce yourself. When I came on set, you were not on set. And from your own perspective, after introducing yourself, when you're done, we'll give to Kalu, our brother who joined us. Let's welcome Kalu with the clap, please. Kalu, you're welcome. Okay. Now, inclusion. Part of what women advocacy is inclusion. From your own perspective, inclusivity, are you satisfied? And if you're not satisfied, what's your perspective?
Thank you very much. My name is Comrade Chris Abu. I am a journalist and I'm also the chairman, National Association of Persons with Physical Disabilities, FCT chapter. I am not certified, and it's starting from you, the presenter, because the women perspective have been very resounding in this town hall, even the youth, but the voices of persons with disabilities have not been heard.
That's why the microphone is before you.
Yes, the last, I remember the last time I was given opportunity, my thoughts, they didn't allow me to speak, but thank God I'm having this opportunity, and I hope you will give me the time.
Please speak.
Just like every other person. All right. Having said that, we are not certified the way is going in Nigeria. And again, I want to say this. When we are talking about women, we are talking about the youth, entire Nigerian, and we are not talking about the perspective of persons with disabilities. Inclusivity is not happening. I just have to tell you this. So in every conversation, because disability issues are cross-cutting, it affects every sector of our life. You know, I can prove that to you, but there's no time for me to do that. So, but I want to tell you that when you look at majority, what is more important than when you look at maybe the governance, inclusive governance that we have been talking about, she mentioned something, special seat for women. That should also be special seat for persons with disabilities. Because when you look at even the National Assembly now, no person with disability is actually represented. So who is talking about our issues? So when we are talking about making the laws or even talking about the policies, who is speaking for persons with disabilities? Nobody. So, and it's not something that is a rocket science. It has been happening. If you go to Kenya, they have a special seat for persons with disabilities in their parliament. It can happen in Nigeria. So again, not only that they have a special seat, those who can also make it, maybe you make it by merit, as a person with disability, it will still not affect that particular special seat for persons with disabilities. It's very important that we do so. And another thing I also want to talk about is this. When I travel to France, there's something I find out in France. Every citizen of France understood how to actually treat a person with disability. I will come to a place, you see them, without telling them, they know how to offer you assistance. They know how to even open the doors for you to pass. But it's not the same in Nigeria. So what is going on? So you find out that we lack that knowledge. And even played out here. Because if you are very knowledgeable about disability issues, you would have been talking about it. And I have to be very grateful to Madam Bumi, who have actually mentioned disability in every of her speech. But every other person don't do that. But I have been in international forums, see conversations. In everything they say, they talk about persons with disabilities. Because we're one of the integral parts of the society. The society is not complete without issues of persons with disabilities. And you talk about poverty, you talk about inclusivity, and you're not addressing persons.
Is very conscious of this. We have programs that are sent out to people with vulnerabilities like you. NTA, if you go to some places, even where to enter, our policy covers all this. Go ahead, please.
Okay, I have actually uploaded NTA when I started.
That's why you're even here.
Yes. But I'm saying that going forward, when opportunities like this present, you should give us that opportunity to speak. So
and you're speaking already.
Because we are talking to Nigerians. We don't have this kind of platform all the time. So whenever we have this kind of platform, we know the reach of NTA, that we are talking to millions. So it's an opportunity for me to actually speak from my heart and actually get people to understand better how persons with disability actually felt on issues or what is going on in Nigeria. So that because they are always operating from the side of ignorance, not that we understand that, because we understand that by the time they have adequate knowledge about persons with disabilities, the attitude toward persons with disabilities will change. And even those in government, we are talking about our president, our governors, it's just because of that lack of knowledge. Like today, when I listened to a presidential speech, he didn't actually make direct statement for persons with disabilities. You don't do that in America. You don't do that in UK. That your president is speaking and he's not actually giving a message for community of persons with disabilities. And we are talking about 15% of our country's population. That is the WHO estimation of persons with disabilities. So that's, if you look at the population of Nigeria, we are talking about over 35 million Nigerians who are persons with disabilities. So you should take them seriously.
Okay.
So whenever you're coming up with policies, you're talking about whatever you're addressing, that aspect of persons with disabilities, please remember that aspect and actually address it. You understand? But before I drop the mic, because I will give my brother Carlo the opportunity to speak.
Definitely.
Since he's here. So he's a blind person And I know that's also a perspective we want to talk about. So I want to proffer some solutions that I think that those in governance should. Again, we are looking at federal, we are looking at state, we are looking at local government. So the federal, that's exactly where we always look at. But the state and the local, especially the local government, nothing is going on in the local government. They don't care about whatever they do, they don't care about persons with disability. The law, the section 29 of the Disability Act actually talked about employment quota, 5% employment quota for persons with disabilities. Are they implementing it? We're not even talking about the federal, because about 70% of persons with disabilities are in the rural areas. So that's why I'm saying here that the local government are where we're supposed to beam our satellite and begin to look into how are they addressing the issues of persons with disabilities. In their employment, since they are now just paying salaries, how many persons with disabilities are within their own workforce that they should also benefit from those salaries that they are paying? And nobody should tell me that we don't have qualified people. We have. We have a lot of qualified persons with disabilities who can occupy those spaces. But because of this charity mentality we have about disability, people think it's all about gathering persons with disabilities, share rice, maybe possibly give 1 or 2 wheelchairs, and you have taken care of persons with disabilities. And this is what is continue to occur. Whenever we engage them, you hear them say, we are taking care of persons with disabilities. The other day we gathered them, we gave them this, we gave them that, we gave them some tokens. These are not what we are talking about. We have rights. So what we are saying is that those rights that we have, please respect those rights, because that's the only way we can operate within the society like every other person. The opportunity you have, I also wish to have the same opportunity. And all I ask for is just that little push, because of my own limitations. So that little push, that's why we have a special law for persons with disabilities. And when you implement it, you have given me that extra push for me to also compete with you. So I want to also say that as we are going into the next election, all the presidential candidates and the governors, their manifestos, we've not heard them talk about disability. So which way, where are we going to? Can we continue this way? Can't we be a time that the person with disabilities will also begin to enjoy what others are enjoying? Let's not think that it's okay for persons with disabilities. It's not okay for us. I know what I spent for me to be here. And that's why I was angry when I was not given the opportunity. So because I spent so much to be here. Not that I didn't spend, I spent more than you. Because you can decide to take along. I can't take along. I must either take a taxi or a drop, or I fuel my car, which will cost me more to be in any point, anywhere I want to be. That's why persons with disability will always spend more. And that's that disability cost I am talking about, which is a lot of burden on us. And we must be included. We must be included in governance. We must be included in any developmental programs that governments are doing, so that our input will be there for all our issues to be captured the way they're supposed to be captured, so that at the end of the day, we will enjoy like every other person. But let's not forget that just as women are clamoring, we also want to be. All the political parties, please give opportunity for us. A lot of our people have actually declared interest. Please don't push them away at the level of the primaries. Give them the opportunity so that we will have representation in governance. Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Kalu. From Kalu, we'll get to our brother on Brown, because I watched you speak while I was watching, but since something was said, you have not spoken. So let's Kalu speak. After Kalu, we'll come to you. Kalu, you just introduce yourself formally again.
Yes, I'm Carlo A.K. I work with, I'm a Chief Braille Stroke Research Officer with the Nigerian Educational Research and Development Council, NERDC. Yes, adding to what my colleague has just said, it's not, the things persons with disabilities are passing through in Nigeria. In fact, I even thought that after the signing into law of the Disability Act, that things will change. Things have not changed. In fact, things are even changing for worse. Not as a result of, in fact, where we have issue now is even our ministries, departments, and agencies. As per the federal government, in terms of that law, they tried. In fact, even this President Tinubu now, even when he was the governor of Lagos State, he was a very disability-friendly governor. He left a legacy and he laid a foundation for persons with disability, for disability inclusion, which every other governor has been working on. As it stands now, Lagos can be judged as #1 most friendly state in Nigeria due to the legacies President Tinubu left behind between 1999 and 2007. And he also came to the federal level and he's trying to replicate it. But the truth remains that even amongst ourselves, who are persons with disabilities, we are not even helping ourselves. We have senior special assistant to the president on disability matters. And we also have the executive secretary of the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities. And all of them, both of them were appointed at the same time by this current president. I have not seen any impact, any positive impact, any positive effect of these two in the lives of persons with disabilities. I don't know whether I'm just speaking on my own, but all I know is that I'm saying what I've observed. There is no impact, no positive impact. So concerning persons with disabilities generally, when I went to Nairobi, I tried to find out from persons with disabilities that came for that particular conference. I tried to find out how persons with disabilities were being carried along. In fact, I went as far as asking them whether they have a ministry for persons with disabilities. One South African woman told me that no, that what they do is that any policy government wants to adopt, they must make sure that persons with disabilities are included in those policies. For instance, if there is transport policy, if there is anything that has to do with education policy, inclusive policy, persons with disabilities must be carried along, must be included. But here, our own, we have policies. We have the National Inclusive Policy. We also have the National Special Education Policy. We also have the disability law itself, the Disability Act. How many has been implemented? None. There is no implementation. Since our bill was signed into law by the left President Buhari in 2018, this is 8 years. No positive impact. Our 5%, we have been making noise about it. Even what offices do now is to carry out replacement, because they know that when they advertise for employment, they will be instructed to include persons with disabilities. So what they do, even some of them, the Federal Character Commission will even instruct them to include persons with disability, to give them their 5%. They will share it among themselves. It has happened. I've witnessed it. So I don't know, because there was one program I attended, one conference I attended in 2023. I made a request from Mr. President to to issue an executive order for the implementation of this National Inclusive Policy and the Disability Discrimination Act. That's the act that is against persons with disabilities. Some that attended the conference were laughing at my proposal, you know, but they don't know, they did not even know the meaning of what I said. Out of ignorance, they were laughing. Because I can't see the reason why a law is in place and nobody is implementing it and nothing is being done against those people. When we talk of RAM in our buildings, how many agencies have done that? None. Because nothing is being done against them. Now, the commission itself that has the opportunity that has been allowed to implement this law or to make sure that they issue the implementation guideline and also carry out punitive measures against all these agencies that are not implementing this. What action have they taken? What move have they made to make sure that all these things are done? No. When we talk of our women, we have women with disabilities. And somebody from National Council for Women, National Women's Society, right? Good. How many persons with disabilities who are women are in your society?
Okay, please just move on.
Do they have their leader?
Yes. She's appointed a governing board member of National Women Development Center, which we must celebrate the president.
Okay. Okay. So I'm asking, okay, now, as my brother talked about transportation, how he was able to come here, we have been asking, agitating for disability allowance. He would have, even as I am here now, I was supposed to come with an aid, and he himself was supposed to come with an aid. Now, you transport your aid and transport yourself. That's double expenses. What effort has been made for us to get this disability allowance, or for those of us that are working to have a discount in their taxes to augment their meager salaries? If you are to spend 5 naira to go to school, I'll spend 20 naira to go to school.
Look, can I just interject, please?
Yes.
You've raised cogent points, and I'll suggest that I'm not taking the mic from you. We need to also sustain this discussion because Agbo spoke, you spoke. Let me allow Madam, you asked the question, let her just respond so that we come to the panel here, then we can move on. Because Olaruwaju is waiting. I've not gone to him yet. Since I came on board, he has not spoken. So can we respond to you, please? Thank you so much. We'll come back to you if time allows. Just the question he asked, respond, then we'll come back to the panel because they have raised weighty issues, cogent weighty issues that we should address.
I think about inclusion for National Council of Women's Society. Membership, like I said, is umbrella body of all women organizations. All the different women with disabilities, right, are there.
Okay.
In fact, the leader is Dr. Lois Alta.
Okay, let me hold that.
That the government, let me say it.
Okay.
When the government does well, we should celebrate it. It has never happened also in the history of Nigeria. Apart from the commission and the SA, now we have a woman who President Bola Ahmed Tinubu appointed as a member, 4 members of the governing council of National Women Development, Miriam Babangida, National Woman, and Dr. Lois Alta, who also ran for Senate in Kaduna, is a member
Thank
appointed.
You very much.
So we must thank the government.
Thank you. Just give the mic to MNI to just say what. Then I come back to Dr. Wumi to respond. Because I saw her very, very interested in that discussion.
Yeah. Thank you very much. To buttress the facts that my princess has said, National Council of Women's Societies, which is the umbrella body of women, comprises the...
I thought you were speaking from a point of policy.
Okay, from point of policy.
Yes, please.
Yes, there are policies that have been made, which our brother has highlighted all of them. But the issues of implementation, which is the problem, the real problem of Nigeria, is what we are calling on the government to look at. The ways of, if you say policies are there. Like the one you mentioned, what has NIPS done? NIPS has really researched on so many issues, not only one. And the recommendations of moving Nigeria forward are embedded in those reports. Now, implementation of those findings and recommendations and the implementation strategies are lying down on the shelves of different offices. If actually the government can look at it from the inception of NIPS till today and look at all the researches that have been made, then a lot of solutions will be found in those reports. You know, the federal government spends so much money in sponsoring participants to go all over the world to search for. So we are saying the policies that have been made should be implemented so Nigeria can be better for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Back to the panel. It's a countdown already. Let me just share 2 minutes, beginning with Dr. Wumi, so we can utilize the remaining time of this program. Just respond on the policy end. What has been raised by Agbo, Kalu. Madam responded to the issue of inclusion and MNI. When you have MNI, you emphasize on that. She has also spoken. So let's take 2 minutes. Let's begin with you.
Right,
from the ambit of policy implementation.
Thank you so much. Again, I'm going to say this, and I'm happy we are doing it on a day like this. Policies are not implemented by government. Hello, do you get what I'm saying?
Listening to you.
Policies are not implemented by government. Policies are meant to be implemented by all citizens. That is why from all of what we have said, PWD, sir, the leaders, and I'm excited that Dr. Auta is there now, and that is with Dr. Adedayo Benjamin Lani. We need to celebrate the president for that appointment. She's a fantastic person. And that means that for women, for PWDs, for even children, because when you talk about women, you can't talk about women without children. The same for the youth. We need to understand that if we want to work together, 3 years today, can we take a countdown? In the next 3 months, what do we want to see? In the next 6 months, what do we want to see? Because we can talk from now to tomorrow, and there is no result. And I'm hoping that after now, we can actually see synergy where we work with speed. Of course, our NGO works with PWDs a lot, and we are mapping a strategy where we have them trained with all of those technologies that help them to learn, and then they can be well positioned for all the advocacy that my brother mentioned. Because again, I'm excited that Uncle Kalu is working with NERDC. That means there is competence, and they could put him in the position. Every other PWDs must have that competence. Every woman must have their competence. So one of the strategies I want to see in the next few minutes, which we have started, June 8th, is another virtual section. Virtual, I said, wherever you are in Nigeria, once you have a mobile phone, you can connect with us to learn any skill at all, Okay. Just learn. And in the evening, at the comfort of your home. And then when it needs for the practicals, and that is where our local government leaders come in, we want you to be involved in this. We want to take it around the whole country to the 774, and I'm excited to work with Women Council. Let's get our women, our PWD members, our young people on this project.
Thank you.
Let's train them, and let's bring them. And you know, sir, before you thank me, Prof, And
we
sir,
don't have all the time.
I listen to you very well, and I want to inquire of you. We need your support. You know, the academia should not work alone. There is something around the town. My sister from the tailoring sector kept talking about power. That power will not come to her until people in the academia begin to come in to work with us. The artisan community is a large community. My brother that was supposed to be speaking.
Let me just interject. Thank you very much.
We
We
need
don't
to
have
work
all the
together.
time. We are winding down. Prof, just in a few words. We have talked so much. We have extracted Mr. President's statement. We have looked at 27 years of unbroken democracy, and we have narrowed down to 3 years of President Tinubu's administration. Let me say your concluding statements in just a few words or seconds. What are concluding statements?
I think my concluding statement, just based on the ideas that have been shared in this panel, and also looking at the President's speech this morning, you see that we need to identify the root cause of inflation in the world today. When you look at Adam Smith's philosophy, he said that too much money chases two figures. But it's not feasible in this modern time. The root cause of inflation in the world, I mentioned it, is fuel price. And when you look at the data today, in Senegal, because of the Iranian war, inflation has increased from 0.7 to 1.4, over 100% increase. The same thing in Bolivia, the same thing in US, the same thing all over the world. And you see that what the president needs to do is this. When you look at his speech, he said that he gives some of the first of the funds removal to the governors, and which they have raised in this panel. And you see that giving it to the governors based on the speech, said we reinvest on the people. Are they actually investing in the people? And if no, what should be the next option? The next option is that there is need to look at the producers of this product, which is fuel. In Nigeria, we move from issue of importation, which the president emphasized on, to now domestic production. We need to cut the domestic actors that are involved in fuel production and see how the government can support them to reduce the price of fuel in this country. And if the price of fuel in this country is reduced, drastically there will be a reduction in inflation. And when there is reduction in inflation, there will be a reduction in poverty, and which will bring about reduction in crime. And most of this inclusive nature that all of us are talking here will be more visible. And that is why the government has to look at the price of fuel, which is a catalyst that drives inflation.
I'm free.
Thank you very much. My final intervention will be in two folds. Number one, I want to respond directly to the concerns that have been raised by the PWD community, which specifically speaks to the blatant refusal of government agencies and ministries to implement a law that has been duly passed by the government. So maybe the direct intervention that is practical on that is to have a hall of fame and a hall of shame. We should be able to create a dashboard in collaboration with civil society that says this agency is responding well, this agency is not responding well, because at some point we cannot run away from the fact that we need to apply the pressure as citizens to get compliance. The second aspect of it, which I also think is fundamental, has to do with the administration itself. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I believe in the last 3 years, he has implemented what I describe as stroke of the pen strategies. Subsidy is gone. Let's do this. Let's reform. Let's ensure that the differentials in the exchange rate are addressed. It is now time to implement behavior change strategies. And by behavior change strategies, I'm talking about governors channeling resources to the most critical aspects. Local government channeling resources to education, to healthcare, to poverty reduction. That is the only way that we can record impact and transform the lives of our people. So if President Tinubu wants to be known or wants to build that legacy as a transformational leader, these are the areas he now has to press the other tiers of government to implement clear deliverables on. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Barnabas.
Two areas to quickly address, and one is in response to what the PW the community has raised. I think that there's need for institutions to help in solving the problem of the very negative attitude that people have towards people with disabilities. Churches have to rise up to it to educate the people. Mosques may have to work on that. Families must begin to let the people know that someone is disabled does not mean that they don't need your love or prioritize their own need. It is until these institutions are able to give the right place for disabled people, that will be when, laws can be effective. Because laws are not effective where cultures are very strong. And that's why today, you say don't spray. The people who made the law, the National Assembly members who made the law, don't spray. They go around spraying. Everybody is spraying because spraying has become part of our culture of entertainment. In the same way, until we change our mindset about people with disabilities, it will continue to have these problems. Then, quickly on the side of the government, I think that intentions are not enough. Outcomes are very important. The intention for removing subsidy, very good, perfect. The intention for, this Naira and dollar exchange rate, very effective. Now, the resources that we are making from these policies, like he said, must be channeled to ensuring that the people benefit from it. And finally, in terms of our deepening of our democratic processes, the culture of imposition must be stopped. This idea of using either consensus or even the direct primaries have thrown up a lot of problems that we will begin to see the fruits when the new set of leaders emerge. Because today we have a situation where a minister, for instance, can say a governor should not come back and even go on air and say that part of the agreement for the removal of, emergency is for the governor to accept not to come back. Whether the people want him or not, I don't want him. And so if you want to come back, that is, you want us to remove the emergency, you must agree that you are not bringing your, even if the people want you, that is not good for democracy. And as we speak today, there are governors who are imposing, their relatives, their cronies, giving them tickets that they know that these people are not even, they don't have the qualities to become leaders. That must be stopped. And I hope the president and of course the democratic institutions like the political parties must do something about this so that we don't throw the wrong people to positions of power and authority. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, we are winding down. We have just a few minutes. So, to the town hall, let me give to Olaruwaju. Olaruwaju, please, just maybe a sentence or so that Madam at the esteem can also speak. Then we'll take the youth at the row, and the last thing we'll just wrap up. We don't have the time, please.
Okay, thank you so much for the privilege. If you may permit me, I will thank the NTA for this opportunity calling for this town meeting, because with what we have discussed so far, if our president is listening to us, I believe that there is a lot to take home from this discussion today. So on aspect of artisans and craftsmen in Nigeria, I will plead with our president. I know he's listening. If you see the way our youth are walking around the country right now, it's alarming and it's a concern. And how to go about it is how, if it is possible, how to engage them, to train them, give them. I know that some of them are ready to have the skill, but now, even to buy the equipment, let me say Tyler now, before we just crack, that is a machine. But now, before you can, when you have a 60 by 30 to lay on the wall, you have 100 by 100. So there is a cramp, there is in general, we are talking about power. When there is no light, what do? You need a generator to power your tools. So all these things are there. So I'm pleading, as I believe that our president, President Tinubu is listening to this program. On behalf of artisans and craftsmen in Nigeria, I'm begging that please use your power to use those that is in power in the authority to empower the youth by giving them the art the training, for them to be trained and be empowered to have skill in order for them to run away from this crime. Thank you so much.
Give to Mama. Well, just a sentence, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
We are thanking our president, especially in FCT, for upgrading our traditional title holders. At the same time, I listened to the person from Kaduna State. We need train in Abuja to ease transportation. Let Mr. President, we're appealing to him in FCT to release more funds come 2027 for our minister so that we can have, train roads in Abuja which can ease transportation. At the same time, we need more Senate. We are over 3 million in the Federal Capital Territory. Why do we have only one Senate? That is why there is a lot of competition. We have only 2 Federal House of Rep. In FCT, see the population growing. We need more Senate. Like 3 in FCT or 4. We need more Federal House of Representatives in FCT so that it will carry everybody along. The residents, those that are with us, both the indigenous and the residents that are here, so that there will be competition in National Assembly for us to have development in our rural areas, especially in the 6th Area Council.
Thank you very much.
And let there be more local government, because we have structure during Shagari's regime. We have Yaba. Let there be local government there. Let there be local government in Rubochi. We are talking of, satellite towns, so that there will be fast development like US that
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Give to the young man there. After the young man, give to our young sister at your back. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you very much for all that has been said. I think the main issue, which a lot of us have tend to gloss over, I think, is still the issue of insecurity. And even talking about, the people with disabilities, my mind goes straight to the fact that, in a state of emergency, can these people be catered for? And that's all. Thank you.
Give to our young sister there. Our young sister there.
Oh, thank you, sir. I would just like to emphasize on what I've already said, that education is key. And if, you don't have education, you can also go for skill acquisition. Yes, and because of some people, parents might have died, or their parents don't have good jobs. Yes, so yeah.
Thank you very much. Well, that's it on this very interesting edition. We have been on since 9 a.m. this morning. Turning the corner, 3 years of the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and we have had it so interesting. I must say I thank all the panelists with me here, those who were here before me and those who are here with me. And to the town hall, I thank all those who served before I came and those who are exiting with me. Well, the bottom line is, turning the corner, 3 years of Tinubu's administration. Yesterday is gone. Today is here. How we execute today from all the witty inputs made will determine how tomorrow will be. For now, on behalf of all of us, all our correspondents who made inputs across all the centers we went to, the technical crew, the producers, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.